Welcome guitar lovers, my name is Ollie and this is an especially special episode of me talking about cool guitars because I'm talking about possibly the coolest guitar that I've ever come across in my entire life. Probably one of the coolest guitars I'll ever talk about on this channel. In my hands I am holding not only a Fender Custom Shop instrument, but a Fender Custom Shop 1956 Dennis Galuszka master-built Stratocaster. So this is a very special guitar because it actually came into the shop that I work at here in Perth, Western Australia, called Sound Centre, where we won it at the, when I say we won it, we won the chance to buy it at the Fender Custom Shop event. 2020. Normally we fly over to Sydney and go check them all out and bid on them, and it's a great time, but of course COVID is the thing this year, so it was a digital event. And yeah, we're incredibly lucky to have this guitar. It is already sold, so don't consider this as a sales video or me trying to sort of, make you guys want to buy it per se. It's just me talking about one absolutely magnificent guitar. So I suppose the question that you'd ask yourself is why would I possibly want to spend here in Australia 11,199 Australian dollars on a guitar? What's the difference? Even next to me I've got, this is a team built, my own personal Fender Custom Shop. That's a 60 roasted maple Strat. And let me tell you, there is a difference for spending another couple more $1,000s. It comes down to, you can get yourself any great guitar. Even like you can get yourself a nice Squire, like a nice classic vibe. You can get yourself a Player Series. You can upgrade the hardware, you can upgrade the electronics, but when it comes down to it, there is most definitely a difference, and it is worth paying for. So in this video I'm going to talk about why, my experiences. And what I was getting to before, you can upgrade hardware, you can upgrade electronics, but on these guitars it comes down to not only the craftsmanship but the materials that go into it. They're of the highest quality, they're so incredibly selective, and with a master built guitar, one pair of hands builds the guitar from start to finish. Not a team built. There aren't, people who have different brains and different fingers and different sort of senses working into it. You get a creation for someone that has seen it from start to finish. And like I said, this is the most incredible guitar I've ever played. And I've played a lot. So yeah, you heard the neck pickup before. So let me just give you a quick a very, very quick run through of all the pickups. Nothing but pure Strat sound. Like, in your head when you imagine what a Strat sounds like and what probably every Strat pickup ever is modeled after, it's this. This may as well be, it's funny, Louis, who works at Sound Centre, there's another separate unboxing video that we did. He said from his experience of playing, I think it was an early 60s Strat, an original that he played, he said this is the only other guitar that somebody may as well have walked into the shop and be like, hey, I've got this original 1956 Strat. It's just as authentic as it gets. It's not trying to emulate anything, it just is. Which you can feel. So let's start off with the electronics this time. Normally I start with the body, but hey, why not? So the story with these pickups, they're called what's called a Josefina hand wound. Basically, Josefina is the apprentice of the one and only Abigail Ybarra. Now, Abigail Ybarra is responsible for building pickups, for crafting pickups, I should say, for some of the most important players and therefore creating some of the most iconic sounds of all time. So we're talking, Clapton, we're talking Jimi Hendrix, just to, imagine being responsible for making something for Hendrix. And Abigail was taught by Leo Fender himself. So Leo Fender taught Abigail. Now, of course, Abigail has now retired, and Josefina has taken over. So, you know, to buy a set of pickups from Abigail Ybarra just made, you can expect to pay about $1,000. So yeah, you can see where that's coming from. It has to do with, you know, the techniques that have been handed down, and of course the idea with the Fender Custom Shop is to make them as per the original vision that Leo had back when they were making them in the early 50s and the 60s. So yeah, it's as authentic as it gets, and it's just a sound that inspires so much articulation. I've actually got quite a lot of gain dialed in at the moment because I want you to be able to hear that. There's still all of the clarity in the world, even with so much gain. And I think that's the test of a very, very well-made guitar and a very, very well-made pickup. You can hear all of that note definition, all of that clarity, which it's giving us in, you know, of course, those 5 iconic, beautiful positions. Sorry, if you can tell, I'm actually in love with this guitar. So, of course, we have neck, middle, and bridge. Those inside positions, of course, are... sort of those iconic Strat sounds, which, you know, you can hear them right there. So yeah, those are the pickups. Hand-wound Josefinas, as legit as it gets, as you can hear. In terms of the body, so this is a 2-piece select Alder. Now, of course, like I was saying before, you can pay just over $1,000 here in Australia to get yourself, you know, an Alder Strat. So what's the difference? Well, the key word there is select Alder or Alder, however you want to pronounce it. Basically, they are so selective on, you know, the weight, the actual grain itself, because this is where we're talking about not only the sound, because the sound comes from the pickups, but the resonance. Of course, the resonance is going to dictate, you know, how much the thing moves when you hit it, how much sustain you get, and that is what it's all about here. So we're getting something that really, really resonates, really, really sustains, and just has that sort of magic to it. To me, the mark of a great guitar is when you can pick it up and not even plug it in, but you can just feel it, strum it, and tell very, very quickly if that guitar is going to make the cut. Which, of course, you'd expect that for $11,000, again, Australian, whatever it's going to be in the US. It's a lot of money. You could buy, you know, 2 or even 3 maybe sort of entry-level custom shop guitars for that. So you do want to be getting something that is next level, but again, I'm absolutely blown away. You need to treat it differently to a normal guitar because it just absolutely takes off. It's almost weird because you spoil yourself when you play a guitar like this, because you go back to literally anything else and it's like, oh man. But yeah, something that's just an absolute treat. And again, congratulations to the person that's going to own this guitar as well, because truly, truly an incredible collector's piece. So yep, 2-piece select Alder body. It's got classic Strat wiring. Now, as you can see, we do have I believe it's called a Journeyman Relic. Probably verging on like a light or medium relic on this guitar. So a lot of people don't really get the idea, or they're always sort of knocking back a relic, which I completely understand. You know, you're spending that sort of money, why not get something that, you know, looks brand new? For me, it's not so much about the body, it's more about the neck that I'll go into very, very shortly. But I don't know, it just feels worn in, it feels like an old friend. I don't think this guitar has been too overdone as well. It does feel very sort of authentic. You know, it's relicked where you would expect it to be relicked, not in like random places where, you know, where you see it on some guitars. So yeah, this is a nitrous cellulose lacquer as opposed to, you know, polyurethane that will be used on a lot of more modern guitars. Basically means similar to it's the original finish they used to use. It's going to wear naturally. It's going to fade over time. It's not going to be extremely hard. So yeah, it sort of allows itself to develop character even more so the more that you play it. We have tarnished gold hardware on this guitar as well, which again I always think it looks a little bit funny when you get something that is relicked everywhere else except the hardware is perfect. Of course, the great thing about having gold hardware that's already tarnished is, of course, gold hardware is prone to oxidization and tarnishing over time. So yeah, you're not going to have to worry about this guitar sort of developing that. So yeah, very, very cool. That's an American vintage style. Again, just a classic Strat tremolo. Yeah. Very, very cool. Serial number R102407. Just got to take a moment to look at it. Okay, so that is the body we've talked about. Now, moving on to the neck. So this is a one-piece maple neck. We've got a 9.5 radius fretboard, so of course, you know, back then they would have been done 7.25, but I think there are some features you do want to be more modern, because 9.5 is typically a lot more comfortable to play on, a lot more player friendly, which is why they started doing it in the 80s. So yeah, one-piece maple, it just feels great to play on. So it's actually a 60 oval shape, of course done entirely by hand. And yeah, there's just something magic about it. So incredibly comfortable to play on. The more that you play it, the more you fall in love with it. So I was mentioning before about sort of, you know, the whole relicking thing. For me, the most important part of the relicking is when it comes to the neck, because that's where it starts to get very, very comfortable to play on. So as you'll see on this guitar, it's sort of relicked more towards the, you know, where you're going to be playing open chords, which of course the idea being maybe this player was playing, they were more of a rhythm player, whereas, see, it's not as relicked as you go up towards the end of the fretboard. What's interesting and different about this guitar than what I've seen in the past is that there's actually little sort of like nicks in the neck, which is unique, and again, something that, of course, the one person, Dennis, that built this guitar had in mind when he was building it, and sort of, yeah, it's just so effortlessly playable. So yeah, even like the finer details you can see. I'll get close-ups, but you can see like along the treble side there's, you know, where the tips of the fingers have been resting since 1956. So yeah, very, very cool. On the fretboard is also what we call ghosting. So this sort of takes it another step further. The idea is it's the actual fretboard itself, the finish is lacquered where people have been pressing down, the string's been pressing down on the fretboard. We've got narrow tool frets on this guitar as well. Of course, the frets aren't relicked. they don't have, you know, dips where they've been playing for years and years and years, because that, of course, is something that's going to negatively affect the playability. A bone nut, of course. We've got a Fender logo on the headstock, as you would imagine, and again, more characteristic relicking of where you would hit it, and the Dennis Galuszka, I hope I've been pronouncing his name right, we've got Dennis's signature on the back of the headstock as well. That is, of course, something that you will almost always get when you get a master built guitar as well. It's not just going to say Fender Custom Shop, but is going to have the mark of that exact builder. So yeah, in regards to Dennis, did a bit of reading up on him. So he was a cabinet maker turned I believe a drum maker. I think drums are his first love. Turned guitar maker. So he actually had an interview for, you know, becoming an apprentice or a builder at the Fender Custom Shop. After 8 months, he was promoted to master builder. So if that says anything about, you know, says anything about his prowess and knowledge and just pure experience, then I think that basically is it. And anyone that has made a guitar for Paul McCartney is alright in my books. If it's alright for Paul, it's alright for the rest of us as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, It's just incredible. Let's I'll take you guys through some clean sounds very quickly so you can hear it a bit more clearly. So this is going through a Fender Blues Junior, straight out into my Boss WAZA tube amp expander. It's going into a 412 cabinet simulation as well. Again, there's that middle position Strat sound, or in between position Strat sound, I should say. Got a slight bit of drive on there. So yeah, like I said, clean sound it absolutely pulls off. Gain sound pulls it off, and even with that thick searing gain sound I had before, it's got it, baby. So yeah. In terms of the case, of course you do get a Fender custom shop case with these instruments, and a cool thing which I think a lot of people, except people that own custom shop guitars, don't realize they come with is of course it comes with this lovely leather booklet here. But what comes in here is not only a signed certificate of authenticity. Typically I believe this is signed by the principal master builder, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, being a master builder, this is signed by Dennis himself. But what's even cooler is that it comes with what's called a custom shop floor traveler. So this is what travels around with the guitar as it goes from, you know, basically being an idea, blocks of wood, just pickups, into the final product. So sometimes you'll see, you know, these all have bits of writing on them, little scribbles if anything gets changed or if there's anything being questioned. Again, it's cool because it just gives it a bit more of a story as well. Of course you get, I think this guy comes with the ashtray, bridge cover, tremolo arm, Fender custom shop cloth, which I haven't seen on team built guitars before. My one didn't come with that. And a leather Fender custom shop strap, which most importantly, what I always tell people, says when you're ready on it. So I think that's great because they understand that sort of, you know, this ain't your first guitar, it's probably not your second or third guitar. This is something that, you know, when you're ready and if you can justify spending the money on it, then you'll be ready to really appreciate what these guitars are. It's sort of like the equivalent of, you know, driving, you know, what I imagine driving a beautiful sports car is. Once you attain that level and you experience it for yourself, it is quite difficult to go back. So yeah, absolutely incredible instrument. It absolutely blew me away. Not that I was sort of questioning it when I went into it, but yeah, worth the money, worth absolutely every single penny. You will never need another Strat again. So if you're thinking about getting even a regular Fender custom shop instrument, or let alone, you know, shelling out on a master built instrument, you will not be disappointed. Granted, the specs are what you like, you know, whether the, you know, if you like a big 50s club neck or if you like something a little bit slimmer, if you like the frets. But if those specs line up with what you're looking for, then you are in for an absolute treat, because I can't stress enough how incredible these guitars are. So guys, if you enjoyed watching this video today, feel free to throw me a thumbs up. If you want to see more cool, although I can't promise as cool as this video is coming out in the future, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. I'm going to have a jam on this bad boy now, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.